Colombian officials will be in Washington, D.C. today after President Trump's threats of a trade war. Up until late yesterday, Colombia's president refused to accept flights of deported migrants from the U.S. And in response, the president threatened emergency tariffs of up to 50%. Colombia's president ended up caving to Trump's demands and even offered up his presidential plane to help bring those migrants back into his country. NewsNation's Robert Sherman is following those developments, is live for us there in Washington, D.C. So, Robert, the president says as long as Colombia accepts its end of the deal, he will not impose these additional tariffs.
Yeah, Nichole, and perhaps this is a sign of what's to come under this administration, as the president has long vowed to use tariffs as a negotiating tool in order to broker the kind of deals that he wants, particularly when it comes to the issue of immigration. That playing out here with the country of Colombia after President Trump and Gustavo Petro, the president of Colombia, went head-to-head on this one particular issue here, with the Colombians saying that they would deny entry of planes from the U.S. carrying Colombian citizens that were being deported back to their home country. The response from President Trump was this. He called emergency tariffs of 25% that would become 50% in a week, as well as travel bans and visa sanctions on the Colombian government and its supporters. After that threat was made, the White House announcing a deal between the two nations had been struck. A statement coming from the White House press secretary reads, quote, "Today's events make clear to the world that America is respected again. President Trump will continue to fiercely protect our nation's sovereignty, and he expects all other nations of the world to fully cooperate in accepting the deportation of their citizens illegally present in the United States." And as you pointed out here, Nichole, the diplomatic channels and the conversations between Colombia and the United States still ongoing, with those high-level meetings expected to take place between leaders of both nations. Nichole.
All right, so those meetings happening. Robert, where does this leave us in terms of foreign policy and potential future threats of tariffs?
Well, the big thing here, Nichole, is that you've heard two other countries brought up again and again when it comes to the issue of tariffs and immigration. One is Mexico and the other is Canada. And we've heard these threats for months on end coming from the president, and can tell you that from even public comments made by the leaderships of both countries, be that Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, or Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada, they're watching all of this play out very intently. The Canadians have said that they're prepared to respond in any means necessary if tariffs are levied against them, though they believe that they're still an adequate trade partner to the U.S., especially on the front of energy and oil. Mexico says that they're prepared to defend their own sovereignty and protect their own self-interest. But again, everyone watching this all play out very carefully. Nichole.
Absolutely. All right. Robert Sherman, live for us there in D.C. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.